Hey, party people. This is your boy, Clarence Rick Napier, the president of the insurance brokerage, licensed in 12 states, which include Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Ohio, Michigan, California, Texas, and Washington State. Today is May 31st, the last day of May in 2025. And Clarence Napier is also the president at 321 Biz Development. And our motto is, we are the home of mastering the 5 front-end sales activities. We support white-collar small business owners who sell products and services at $1,000 and higher. And these white-collar small business owners include accountants, CPAs, dentists, attorneys, nurse practitioners, real estate brokers, real estate agents, loan officers, and any blue-collar business owner like electricians and plumbers, floor tilers, again, and any business owner that is selling a product or service for $1,000 and higher. And this podcast episode is about, should you wait on social media or should you take proactive measures to find new clients? Now, I think most people would say be proactive instead of waiting on social media. For those who may not know, social media started around 2008, 2009, and there was a guy that wrote the social media algorithm. He was a professor at Stanford University, and his whole thesis behind writing the algorithm was to get people addicted to social media using pets, vacations, sex, like pretty girls wearing clad outfits, guys with their shirts off, restaurants, and, things like vacations. I think I mentioned that already. But there's about 4 to 5 things that this PhD wrote to get people sort of addicted to social media. Now, everything about social media started off okay. But what happened, a lot of business owners believed that all they had to do was post something on one of the platforms. I think MySpace was one of the original. And people would just buy things from them. And there was even a platform, I think it was called AdZoo, where business owners could buy certain zip codes. And the company claimed that they would be the only business owner in that zip code. But you know what happened? It didn't work. Plus everybody, it was like a ton of businesses were in these zip codes. And the industry that fell hard for it was the real estate industry. Realtors, brokers purchased these zip codes contracts where they were supposed to be the sole sort of like representative of that zip code. And if people signed up to AdZoo, they could be the only buyer or seller that the realtor could work with. And of course, that wasn't true. So you ended up having 100 realtors in one zip code. And then Zillow came out, and then some other platforms came out for real estate. And the same thing happened for the other industries, like accounting. And the thing about accounting, in each major city, if you include the CPAs, there's sometimes 500 to 1,500 accountants and bookkeepers and CPAs. And if all of them are on social media, what's the point? So back in 2011, 2012, I came to the conclusion, I said to myself, Although social media is attractive and it's sexy, and a person could post something to a platform and then minutes later they can see their video, they can hear their voice, they could see the product or service that they market on the platform. That was a big draw. But what the problem was, most of the people who are buying products and services at $1,000 and higher, they were not on social media. They were working. And then I did a podcast episode that talked about the consumer behavioral psychologists, these PhDs that wrote papers, not just one paper. It was like, I think I spent 2 to 3 weeks in different university libraries and read what consumer behavioral psychologists said. About 70% of consumers do not buy from the internet if the price is $1,000 and higher. So if your product or service is $29, $39, or $99, you have a good chance of selling a product or service on social media. But once your product or service price reaches $1,000 and higher, it's a very small likelihood that someone is going to pull out their credit card and just buy something. I saw this in real life, not just what the consumer behavioral psychologists had to say about it. I saw it in real life all the time. And that's when I started 321 Biz Development on November 1st, 2014. I started training small business owners on how to prospect and how to go from the contacting phase to the prospecting phase to the setting appointment phase to the closing phase, and how to get zero cost referrals. And it was stunning when people sat in the class and I started seeing perhaps confusion and kind of like uncertainty turn to, wow, this is how I could have made my business do better all along. But what the challenge is for most small business owners is that they have to prospect. And at first, that can be very scary because in colleges, they don't teach people how to prospect. At graduate school, they don't teach people how to prospect. At the CPA, dental, med school, and the certification to get your MD, your DDS, or your CPA designation, they don't teach business development. So what you have is a lot of people with 6-figure student loans. They have the certification, they pass the bar, and again, the attorneys, they don't take business development in college and they don't teach it in law school. So what you have is a lot of people with a lot of certifications, but they don't have any business development experience. So the question and the key thing about this podcast episode is that if you want to learn how to grow your business, the best thing is to learn how to prospect. And some people think, well, that must be pretty tough. Actually, it's not. Prospecting actually, it cross-pollinates into a lot of other things that we do in our life. Like when we ask for a date. If you're out and about and you ask for a date, that's prospecting. If you got a question about something, that's kind of like prospecting. The only thing I can tell people about prospecting is that you can't just talk too much about your business. There's some relationship building that goes on, and the 321 Biz Development 6 to 9 hour class talks about how to nurture a relationship from scratch. And it could be as simple as being in the bank or being at a coffee shop or being on the soccer field, being at the football game, being at the bar, and just saying hello. That starts the conversation. And 321 Biz Development, we have an excellent contacting strategy on how to contact and what to look out for. And this is not a gimmick. 321 Biz Development, we don't deal with gimmicks. We deal with one-on-one relationship building. So after you say hello, there's something that is said by the other person. Based on that conversation, there are things that you can ask. There are things that you can say just to warm up the conversation. And then you get to a point where it makes common sense to either ask that person about something they might need that your company offers, or not ask about something a person may need that your company offers. So it's a very logical concept. So I just wanted to do this podcast episode to let people know that yes, social media might be attractive. It might be sexy. You might get a lot of, you get a lot of feedback, not feedback from clients, but you see it on this digital platform and it looks like a work of art. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, how many contacts and prospects am I developing from this social media? And even if you did, can you close? So I want to thank people for listening and watching this podcast episode. If anyone needs to reach out to me for the 6 to 9 hour 321 Biz Development Training Class, my number is 866-901-9876. Take care and have a fantastic week.